I've lived here all my life. I'm a nurse. I have worked in just about every home in this town, at times working as an assistant with one of the South's best surgeons, Dr. J. Alfred Dozier. I can remember when we didn't have hospitals here. I can remember some good times and I can remember some bad times. I just lived through 2 world wars and something they call a depression. But I think the toughest times that I've lived through was during the time of 1918 to 1920. We had a flu pandemic here. At that time, we didn't, as I said, didn't have hospitals. They say that the flu came from Spain, but I'm not sure about that. I can't really tell you that that is true. But I do know that people in Wilmington began to get sick, and they brought it down here to Southport. People in Southport began to get sick because it came over on the train and the steamboats. During that time, the war was going on, and Dr. Dozier was overseas fighting the war. But we did have a pharmacist here, and that was Dr. Watson. He called for a quarantine so that people from Wilmington would not come to Southport. But you know, people don't always do what's right. So people in Southport began to get sick too. Because we didn't have a hospital, I was going from home to home, doing what I could to ease the people's pain and get them to eat a little something until they felt better. I guess it must have worked because people in Southport did not get as sick and we didn't lose as many people to death as they did in Wilmington and other parts of North Carolina. But our good air may have contributed to that also. At the end, the governor of North Carolina sent me a certificate for my heroism for the work I did during the pandemic. Isn't that something? As the war came to an end and the pandemic was passing, we began to get some new good news. They were saying that the laws were changing and women would be able to vote. Not only white women, but black women also. So I went to the registrar's office to register. When I got there, he told me I didn't read or write good enough for him. Can you imagine that? But come to find out, not one black man or black woman in all of Brunswick County could read good enough for him. So I decided that just wasn't right. I wrote a letter to the American Women's Party, to the National Women's Party, and asked them if there was some way I could register through mail so that I wouldn't have to go through that man. But they told me no, I would have to go through him, or I would have to wait until the laws changed. And it would take maybe 1 to 2 years before a new federal bill would be passed. So I waited, and I waited, and I waited some more. And finally, in 1956, I could wait no longer. It was my kidneys, you see. I knew it was coming because I was a nurse. All my life, I wanted to vote because I wanted my voice to be heard. Well, I didn't get the opportunity to vote, but my voice was still heard. I wrote my letters over 60 years, and today people are still reading my letters. So I guess my voice was heard after all.